So hello everybody out there, and I'm making this video today. It's a beautiful day. I'm sitting here in my backyard enjoying this lovely afternoon, and I wanted to make this video today because I'm so happy. I read a poll this morning that said in 2021, for the first time ever, more young people under the age of 30 said that they are no longer religious mindset. They are not religious. They have left religion totally. And I wanted to say, I love the young people. Thank you so much for using logic and common sense and not just believing some myth, some desert myth about some angry, vengeful, spiteful God and scare tactics of burning in hell. Ooh, you're gonna burn in hell. You know, and I'm just so proud that the young people are finally waking up. I hate stupid people, and I love to see people use knowledge and common sense and move away from this religious dogma and this weight. I hate it so much when people say, oh, we were born in sin. Well, you may feel like you're a piece of shit, but me personally, I don't feel like a piece of shit. I feel like I'm a pretty good dude. Am I perfect? Hell no. But do I believe I was born in sin and deserve to burn in hell? No. If you believe that, you are probably a very low self-esteem, sheepish. That's why I always say, that's why Jesus called his followers sheep, because they believe anything anybody says. But, so for all the young people out there, I wanted to make this video and I wanted to say thank you. And also, I wanted to use this moment to point out two things that I've recently came across that I thought was very interesting. The first thing was from this chief, Little Turtle is his name. And he was once asked, because he was exposed, because when the Native Americans were overtaken by the white man, they forced them to become Christians. But he always fought against it. And they asked him one time, why have you always fought against Christianity and not accepted it? And he said, and I have my Bible here that my mom and dad bought me back when I was a little kid. And I keep it because even though I'm an atheist, this is something, it says right here on the cover, David, love mom and dad. I love my parents. They're both gone now. And I keep this just because of my love for them, not because I'm religious at all. But Little Turtle stated that your words are printed on paper. And he says, when the wind and the rain comes, over time, your words will be washed away and those pages will turn to dust. He's like, those are the words of your God. He said, my God, his words are the wind and rain. And I love that. I was like, that is amazing. And I love that because this is just words. It's just bullshit. It's no different than Greek myth or Norse myth or Egyptian myth. It's all myth. But the other thing I wanted to talk about today was something that I came across that I thought was very interesting. And I haven't heard really many atheists or anybody talk about this. And it's from Genesis 6:6. This is the King James Version. And it talks about where God is getting ready to flood the world and the reasons why he gives that he floods the world. It says that the Lord saw how great man's wickedness had become. And his heart saw that men were evil. The Lord was grieved that he had made man, and his heart was filled with pain. And I've read and heard that passage probably, thousands of times in my lifetime. But I never really thought about it. So I started thinking about it. And something like an epiphany came to me. It says that the Lord was grieved that he had made man. So I thought about that. God in the Bible always says that he's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. That he doesn't change at all. He's the same from the beginning to the end. And I thought about that and I was like, how could a God that is unchanging be grieved? Because grieved in the way it's used there is like, it's like he didn't know what was going to happen. So he made man and then he was grieved because they were evil. I thought he could see the future. So you're telling me that God can't see the future. Now apologists will say, well, no, that was Noah. No, I'm reading it. See, that's one of the things that makes me mad. Okay, if God is all-knowing and all-powerful, and he wanted to convince people of his power and his authority, wouldn't he expect anyone who can pick up this book to be able to read it and understand it? Because if you couldn't understand it and you always needed other people to interpret it for you, then how could he blame me when I die and send me to hell? Because I could say to him, well, God, your word wasn't very clear, and the men that you appointed to explain it to me did a poor job. So it's kind of like in a court of law. I don't see how he could convict you, because if he didn't mean for his word to be able to be read and understood by everybody, and it only had to be interpreted, then how do you know that the people that are interpreted are in their right mind and they know what they're talking about? Because they're just men too. People that say that are just people. They don't know any more than you or I know. They never been dead. Sure, they went to school or they may call themselves preacher, but that don't mean nothing. Just because you put a title behind your name doesn't mean that that gives you some type of special insight. I'm just reading it for what it says. And it says that the Lord was grieved. So to me, that means he didn't know what was going to happen. He created man, expected everything to be hunky-dory, and then whoops, all of a sudden man became evil, and he's like, oh crap, I didn't see that coming. And then it says also here, that I'm going to read this, that it says that his heart was filled with pain. Number one, if God is perfect, how could a perfect being be filled with pain? That is a contradiction. Perfection cannot be corrupted by pain, because you're perfect. Perfect means that you feel perfect all the time. You're the best always. So how could God, number one, be grieved and feel pain? That contradicts the perfect word, the perfect, explanation of who God is. You can't be perfect and feel pain. That is one of the biggest things that I've always had a problem with. Because God refers to himself as, I'm perfect, I'm holy, I'm this, I'm that. But then he also refers to himself as jealous, angry, grieved, pained. How are you perfect, holy, and unchanging if you can also be angry, grieved, and in pain? That makes absolutely no logical sense. It makes none. And I don't care how apologists try to spin it. I don't care how people that interpret the Bible say that, oh, you're misinterpreting this. They're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. Because a perfect being that calls itself unchanging, refers to itself as the Alpha and the Omega, cannot change. So when God created man, if God created man and he said that it was good, which he did on the sixth day, he refers to the sixth day as good when he created man. So how could he change his mind now? Because he said, I'm unchanging. Now people will often say, well, Jesus, Well, I've got the perfect explanation for that. If God became flesh, then Jesus would have emotions. That's why God became flesh, so he could have emotions and he could have human experiences. I don't believe Jesus even existed, but just using their own argument against them, okay, I can see where Jesus was emotional. But God is supposed to be unchanging, holy, perfect. A perfect being does not feel anger. A perfect being does not feel pain. You know, they have done studies, and even our own society, even though we have evilness in our society, if you look at history, as history has gone along, the majority, not everyone, but the majority of people, as intelligence increases and knowledge increases, people become less violent. I have lived my life for almost 50 years. I have killed no one. I have raped no one. So, and there's probably a lot of you out there that have never raped anybody and never killed anyone. Why? Because as our society has advanced, our society has become less violent. Sure, are there still people violent in the world? Of course. But a lot of those people that are violent because they have mental disorders. They are psychopaths. They are, insane, crazy people. But the normal, average person is nonviolent, as I am nonviolent, as you are probably nonviolent. And scientists have said, as a even more advanced intelligence would have long ago realized that being violent, harboring anger and hate and jealousy were detrimental to progress. And an advanced intelligence would have long ago done away with those animalistic emotions. So a God who can create the entire universe, do you think would still have petty feelings such as anger and jealousy and wrath and all that stuff? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. That would be me. That would be like me being a more advanced being, getting mad at my dog for tearing up stuff. My dog tears up stuff all the time. But as a more advanced being, do I kill my dog? Do I beat my dog? No, I understand that my dog is an animal, is a, instinct-driven animal, and doesn't understand that she's tearing up stuff. In her mind, she's playing or bored or whatever. So, would I punish my dog to hell for eternity because she tore up something? No, because I realize the dog don't know any better. That would be like punishing a baby for pooping on itself. It don't know nothing. It can't do anything. That's how stupid the idea, the concept of God punishing us and sending us to hell is. Because as a father, and I'm a father, and I always say, until you're a father, you can't understand this. I have a daughter who I love more than anything. She is the apple of my eye. She is awesome. And there is no way that I could, in my heart, send my daughter, if I had the power, to a place where she would be tortured and tormented for eternity. For anything. Even if my daughter killed somebody, would I turn her in? Yes, because that's the right thing to do. But I would still support her. I would still come visit her in prison. I would still give her money. Just because she does something wrong doesn't mean that my love for her would ever end. As long as I'm alive, I would love her forever. And even though she would have to pay for her crimes in prison, I wouldn't want her tortured, and I wouldn't want her in pain. I would take care of her, and I would visit her, and I would support her and give her money, and would hopefully wait for the day with joy in my heart when she was freed again and to be with me. So there's no way that I would punish my child for eternity. And that's why I say this idea and concept of God is ridiculous. But to all the young people out there who are finally overcoming this religious stupidity, thank you. I have hope for the world still. Thank you.